Hey everyone! Welcome to our guide on Disruptor the Stormcrafter. We are Physics Mathman and Luminous Inverse, and in this guide, we'll talk to you about Disruptor's skill build, playstyle, and his item choices. Disruptor is a utility intelligence support-based hero, best suited for the 4 or 5 position. He specifically excels at long-distance initiation, providing the team with crowd control, and aiding in the pursuit of fleeing enemies. Disruptor's usefulness is contained exclusively within his spells. He needs very little farm and only a few levels to begin making his massive team contribution. Thunderstrike is a simple single target nuke which deals a set amount of magical damage which is distributed over 4 instances. During each strike, the main target and any enemies within a small radius of him will receive some damage. The only thing that scales with this spell is the amount of damage that it outputs. However, aside from the spell's damage, Thunderstrike's main utility lies within the fact that it grants ground vision on the affected unit for the full 6-second duration. As we will see, this attribute highly synergizes with his second ability. Glimpse is Disruptor's heralded move. It is an instant cast ability which teleports an enemy hero to a location they were 4 seconds prior. The trajectory of the glimpsed hero is highlighted by a visual effect, allowing you to explicitly see where they will arrive. The spell not only destroys illusions instantly, but also cancels channeling spells, including teleports. The cast range and downtime for the spell scale insanely well. By level 4, the cast range of Glimpse is 1800 units, meaning the max range of day vision. Although there are some exceptions such as Ember Spirit's Sleight of Fist or BKB, in general Glimpse cannot be avoided. Kinetic Field is a moderately sized vision-granting circular barrier, which constrains enemy units within it for a short duration. Both the duration of the barrier and the cooldown benefit from levels. Although movement spells such as Mirana's Leap or Earth Spirit's Rolling Boulder can bypass the pen, most units will find themselves trapped within with no escape, even if they have a Force Staff. Finally, his ultimate, Static Storm, is a gigantic area disable which silences and damages all enemies within it. The damage is applied in short, quarter-second bursts throughout the spell's duration, dealing the highest instances near the final seconds of the cast. Note that the silence effect persists for an additional half-second after the enemy has moved away from the Static Storm. All of Disruptor's skills synergize together to form a powerful patented combination. First, the Thunderstrike is cast to gain vision on the fleeing enemy, then Glimpse transports him back into the danger zone, where he is forced to suffer inside a Static Storm by a simultaneously cast Kinetic Field. As a side note, it is best to cast Static Storm as soon as possible during the combo to maximize the damage output, especially when you only have a few levels in Kinetic Field. Currently, both ability progressions rush to maximize Glimpse first, and then look to prioritize one of the remaining spells. The reason Glimpse is maxed first in every case is because its cooldown and range scale unbelievably well, and is without a doubt Disruptor's most effective means in setting up for team kills. Choosing to maximize either Thunderstrike or Kinetic Field second is purely dependent on the opponent heroes. If your main target is a slippery hero who fears silences, such as Weaver, then it is best to maximize Kinetic Field in order to keep them under the Static Storm as long as possible. On the other hand, if the target has high armor and is very susceptible to magic damage early, such as Axe, higher levels than Thunderstrike can greatly hinder them in the mid-game. Although in both build orders we showed a specific way to expend the first 4 skill points, keep in mind that you must be flexible and decide in lane what works best for that moment. However, as a rule of thumb, Thunderstrike is best to get first, since it's one of the highest level 1 magical damage spells in the game, and therefore offers a great way to harass the enemy offlaner. Picking up from where we left off, Disruptor can really stick it to them in lane. Very few offlane heroes can trade hits with you, especially when you're zapping them with Thunderstrike. Keep the harass up and control the lane until you hit level 3. Now with 2 points in Glimpse, or a point in Kinetic Field, Disruptor can get some easy kills if you've been harassing them consistently. When the first Knight rolls around, he is a really dangerous ganker. The Knight lets Disruptor get close enough to cast Thunderstrike, and the vision then guarantees a glimpse, and most likely a kill. He may not be Night Stalker, but Disruptor is definitely a hunter in the night. As the mid-game evolves, Disruptor begins to serve as a ganker and early teamfight specialist. After obtaining level 6, he becomes invaluable at catching and shutting down those slippery, but highly influential mid-game heroes. Whenever a team fight breaks out, placing a good kinetic field into a static storm combo is fight winning, so always be on the lookout when enemies are clumped up. You'll find that the easiest way to pull this off is by counter-initiating on the enemy. You gotta keep in mind though that Disruptor does very little damage by himself, and he's really there just to silence, block, or glimpse people back. So always stay in a safe spot during team fights and hopefully you'll survive, throw out an extra glimpse or kinetic field for kills. In the later game, the enemy carries might start getting Black King Bar, which makes Disruptor pretty much a useless hero. There's no real different way to play Disruptor in this case, other than being a bit more patient with your spells. When their BKB durations start to go down, or if you're baller enough to somehow get an Ag Scepter as a support Disruptor, let them know that you're still the boss of all team fights. Even if you can't get big support items by the end of the game, keep in mind that that's the beauty of Disruptor. He can do so much with so little, so stay calm and keep on glimpsing. Disruptor is one of the most item-independent heroes in the entire game. All he really needs is some extra mana to cast some spells, and of course a bit of extra health never hurts. Because of this, he's going to be the one that spam purchases the wars, the detection, and the smokes for the team. For this game, I start off by buying the standard support item set, courier wards, a bit of regen, and stats. I then recognize that besides my core items, I really want to get some sort of mobility item this game. It's nice to combo with the axe and the Wind Ranger against the slippery heroes, and in general, an escape item is just good on Disruptor. 10 minutes into the game, I'm doing pretty well, having a score of 1, 2, and 4. I keep on providing my team with wards and detection, and of course, I am ganking whenever I can. Due to my early success, I decide to go for a blink, a more aggressive approach to deal with SK and Weaver. A lot of times as a hard support, you're going to have to just not die and earn passive gold for bigger items. But I actually get pretty lucky this game, and land a triple kill with Static Storm. You can really see that the extra mobility provided by the Blink Dagger gave them a big surprise when following up my Spirit Breaker. I decide to go for Ags at this point, since the carries are bound to buy BKBs eventually. For the second game, again, starting items are courier and wards for the team. After a mediocre early game, I start to realize that the team's gankers, the Bat and the Clock, really lack some mid-game damage. So I decide to go for Urn and help out in the damage department. A couple minutes later, I give up on the Urn because I realize that Clock already had one. So I decide to shoot for a Force Staff to help my teammates if they get stunned by Stormhammer or get nuked by Mystic Flare. I pretty much finished the game without any items. This shows, though, that Disruptor can still do his thing without having any items. So don't worry if you fall behind in your Disruptor games. Let me take time to make it perfectly clear that because he doesn't depend on one specific item, if he has some extra gold, he can be extremely flexible with his item build. Does the team need a mech? Go ahead and build it for them. Want some extra mobility? Buy a Force Staff for the team utility. His situational items will change from game to game, of course, so experiment and see what works best for you. If you've forgotten everything we just said, here's 3 things you can take away from this video. 1. During the mid-game, Disruptor's there for utility and damage. 2. Hide your kids, hide your wife, cause Glimpse is gonna get you no matter how far away you are. 3. Disruptor +1, Terror Squad lane. But really, it's just Disruptor equals Fat Joe. Riding in from Upland Druid, Disruptor the Stormcrafter is ever ready to disable the entire enemy team and bring back any stragglers who somehow manage to survive. So strap up your dinosaur and get ready, for the forecast calls for a win. Hey guys, Physics Math Man here from Relax You're Fine. As you know, we release content on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We really appreciate your support, so like and subscribe and suggest who you would like to see next.